Boy, what a great time of year it is in college bowling with national championships on the line this month. And our guest is fantastic for this episode of Hot Topics. National champion, he's done that. A singles and team in the same year, done that too. But this is a year where he very well could make college bowling history yet again. My name is Andrew Pfeffer. I'm the producer, host, and creator of Bowling with the Pfeff, and this is Hot Topics. Really excited to bring this next guest out to you for Hot Topics this week, this every other week. He is the director of bowling and head men's bowling coach at Weber International University. He is the vice president of the Kegel Training Center. He is a USBC Gold certified coach. He is a PBA Tour champion. Del Warren. Every time I talk to you, you're one of those coaches where, I am inspired by the end of the conversation to get out on the lanes and strike and spare for you. You have that effect on me. I guess I should start out. Is that me being easily influenced, or are you trying to, to recruit me, or what's going on here?
No, I've always had a passion for bowling. I realized at the start of this year, it's my 50th year in the game as a player or a coach or somebody who worked in the industry. And the late great Mo Pinnell, who was my mentor, he used to tease me and says, if you saw somebody walking down the street, you tried to teach them how to bowl. So I've always been excited about being a part of the game, but as my role turned into teacher and throughout the years, but specifically when I got the job at Kegel 17 and a half years ago now, I've learned so much more about coaching in the game just by being here and being around a great group of coaches and a wonderful company that just is so dedicated to not only carrying out great products, obviously, but also researching the sport. I get excited about talking to people about what I do, and I like to talk anyway, but I like to talk about bowling. So maybe that's it.
I think that could be it, and it is always a pleasure to talk bowling with you. Let's kind of get into your successes this college bowling season. We're kind of coming toward the tail end here, and Weber has a long history now of success both on the team and individual front. Tell me about how this season has gone for you, both as a coach and seeing your team succeed.
Oh, it's been I would say there's two sides to this coin this year. As you know, we hired Sydney Brummett to be our director of recruiting and to also be a coach. And she's been with me all year coaching the men specifically. And then Tom Hankey and Ruben Garagosian and Rick Wilsey have been coaching the women. And so it's I'll say it to you like this. This has been a very unusual transition year for us. We've actually structured the business a little differently where, we now have a coach that their main job is really focusing more on Weber, whereas, when the late great Randy Stoughton was alive, we were working two jobs. And so we would be on the deck all day long and then Weber practice. And so she's primarily focused on the administrative and some other things and the setting up practices and that right now she's coaching 1 day a week in terms of Kegel. But so that was the transition that we decided to make, is to have somebody that spent more time on the Weber program. And then, so with having a new employee, having someone much younger that came from two other schools, that was one layer of it. The other layer of it is now the transfer portal is on fire, right? So she brought she brought three people from her Mount Mercy program that, originally was both for that program. And also James Bennett, who I recruited, who was both for Indiana Tech, who I recruited before he went there. And I know his dad very well. He decided to put his name in the portal, and they decided to all together come to Weber. So So with that, Brett Lloyd, Brandon Bone, Jenna Williams came from that program. And so there's nothing really that feels the same or that is the same of our traditional Weber program. It's been quite a change. Been quite a change for me, to be honest with you. So I've had to kind of, in my mind in orientation, I told everybody, I said, what I felt like is that the old book of the previous, 15 years have unfortunately come to an end, but I say that proudly. But of course, I miss Randy every day.
Yeah.
Ruben is still on. Ruben Garagosian, the world class world Hall of Fame coach, is still involved with us, but he is part time now. But he'll be coaching the team, postseason, and he's here periodically with us, like he's always been. So it's been a heck of a transition year. So it's literally work. I've never, other than Ruben postseason, who I've known for 15 years. It's also getting along with another coach and being open minded for new ideas. At the same time, I have a very senior team with AJ Wilson home and Charles Bostic and Austin Grammer and Nick Larson are all seniors and all very well seasoned seniors with a new coach coming to them, as well as I've got some recruits coming from her that are coming to a program. It's been a big growth year for the program and for, the old guy, so. So on one hand, this has been incredibly challenging, a little bit sad, if I'm honest, because I miss Randy and I miss what we did before because it was so much fun, Fef. It was just so much fun.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'm also mentoring and teaching, and I'm trying to grow as well. So we've got probably the most talented men's team Weber has ever had, and that's really saying something from man to man. And it's taken this group some time to really understand each other. It's been a little bit of a transition for them. So we were the number one ranked team in the country going to the Hoosier, and it was really between us and Wichita State who qualified higher. Sydney and I and Ruben and Rick, I don't really care about that. I expect them to be right up there at the top like we are every year. Um, and we won a couple of tournaments. But I like the fact that we struggled a little bit in match play in a few tournaments. And we were really trying to find ourselves, I think, and trying to find the flow of this team. And then, like, we have a knack of doing, we really got the team to peak at the right time. And we were in a really tough section. And even though we never went on these, I think our program is known for going on big runs when we start to string strikes. We only had 1 7-bagger at sectionals, and we just bowled very steady. And what I'm really proud of how we led this year, it's our 6th time in a row leading, is that we never really went on a run, but we never shot ourselves in the foot either. We never had that 1 or 2 low sets that, you can have in 64 games. So, so I'm really, really proud of what they did. And, the women's team is much better this year with the addition of Jenna Williams and of course, Jacqueline Watera, who made it to singles. She's arguably, along with Linda, the two of them are up for Player of the Year. So, and they've just had remarkable years. Jackie struck out in the 10th frame to make singles, and she was the last one to be done. And she actually got up there after having a bad previous frame and absolutely struck out in the 10th. So, and then, Aaliyah has really stepped up her game. And so the girls are better than they were last year, and you know, they uh, they led their section last year, and they're a better team this year. So I'm really, really proud of both squads. There have been some transitional challenges on both sides of the team this year, that I expected in my first coaches meeting with them. I said, here's how this is going to play out. I didn't know who the personalities were going to be, but this is very clear to me. And so when this starts to happen, we have to be together as a unit to help them through these challenges. And there are going to be times where we don't like each other very much, and there's going to be times where we disagree. And there's going to be times where the kids will revolt a little bit. I expect that.
Mhm.
even though you do the best you can to prepare, and our culture is called Weber Way and things like that. And of course, the training center is wonderful. They're young people, and so they don't really have the coping skills, to deal with some of the challenges that are going to go through any transition. So, but I think the practice tonight was wonderful. The practices the last couple of weeks have been outstanding in terms of them staying focused, getting done what they need to be done, the amount of energy on the lanes. There's a really good energy and fun. At the same time, there's a focus there. There's a very calm focus. So this took the entire. I think it's the one season where I agree that I've always believed that the college bowling season is way too long. I don't think it's fair to the kids. I don't think it's healthy. I think shortening the season by a month, 6 weeks would be healthy for everybody. But I will have to be honest with you, Fef. This year, I'm glad it was as long as it was, because it really took us that long to kind of, with everything going on, to really understand each other and figure out what we have to do to be the best we can be going into this tournament.
Yeah.
So it's been a very big growth season for Coach Dell. Um, and I have to always challenge myself, because sometimes I get bored, and when you've been in the game for 50 years, you see the same scenarios over and over again, and you just get better at handling it. But this year's been different. So we're a powerful team on both sides, and I'm glad that Tom Hankey got a chance to coach the girls team a few times by himself, and he went through some challenges himself. It's really kind of great to see, how great a career he had on one side, and now he really enjoys coaching, uh, especially the women. So it's nice to see him go through some frustrations as a coach and kind of relate that to some of the things that he went through as an athlete. And we had some great years together, but he was on some teams where the team didn't agree with me. So now he's wearing the other hat, and it's kind of interesting to watch him grow through that as well. So there's been some real challenges, but it's also some real triumphs, as you face those challenges this year. So we're really ready to go, man. We've had a great season. Three kids into the singles finals. Again, we've done very well in that event every year. And Brandon Bone missed by 4, so less
Oh,
than a mark. He
yeah.
missed by. Otherwise, we got 4. Um, but I like our chances to have a great postseason.
Yeah. So now you're tasked with preparing these young men for the intercollegiate team championships and the singles championships. How do you do it? What goes into that in these last few days?
Well, preparation started September 1st. Everything that the way we do it is, to me, every day is preparation. And to me, every year is like getting a new deck of cards. And you have a hand, I'm like, okay, how do it's like playing gin rummy. You get discards, and how do I keep the right cards at the right time? And how do I move things around? And it's just, to me, it's a big card game every year. And then, so that at the end of the year, you have the hand that you have, and the best hand that you can possibly get, and you utilize that best hand the way you can for postseason. Um, so right now, I mean, our last few days of practice is very light. It's really going over situational things, and it's really repeating what we have repeated many, many times over and over, and reiterating the same message over and over about what we believe and what we do. Um, so practices are really no different, other than they're shorter. They're a bit more fun. It's a more observational for me. But really, they've heard the same speech from me since September 1st. So it's really about getting them to. Right now, I believe in a lot of sleep, but I don't believe, they are who they're going to be right now, and so I can't bombard them with stuff. Physical is completely over, and then it's just about reinforcing and being positive. And then I want them to spend a lot of time together this last week. So practices for us are even shorter than they normally would be. Um, and then, of course, just the fundamentals. And I'm not really saying a lot in terms of technical or, I mean, we're it's kind of over.
Yeah.
So, I may show a video or two these next couple days on something. I've been following a lot of Caitlin Clark in Iowa, and I'll watch the game tonight. So I love college sports.
Yeah.
That their whole season really comes down to this one big event, which is the same thing we're going through. And I'm looking for little tidbits from coaches, to be honest with you, that maybe I can share with my team in a either this week or in a situation. So I like to study other coaches, other great coaches in other sport. I love the tribute that they did to John Thompson tonight in the pregame with Charles Barkley, and they told his story, and they had quite a few interviews, and I actually took about a half a page of notes from that. I'm so happy that he got honored because I think he's certainly one of the greatest of all time, but I think he gets overlooked. But also, he did so much more for humanity, and um, so I'm looking for any little thing that, in a moment, that I can say the right thing and maybe help that one person or the team with confidence in a crucial moment. But I love this time of year, Fef. This is so much fun. Going up against the best teams in the country, and putting my skill set to the challenge. And actually, Coach Sidney actually had a really good an idea tonight for how the two of us are really wired so much differently, but what our roles are going to be at postseason. But if I had to share that with you, I'd have to kill you. So she had a great idea tonight, but it was really more observational from our season together, and she just put it more in a kind of how she's wired. She's a very organized person, and I'm very, she's like Iceman, and I'm like Maverick. Like she follows the book, and just is very organized, and I'm kind of a fly by the seat of an instinctive pilot. And so, as kind of the theme of the movie, both things work.
Sure.
And I told her after we did some tests and stuff. It's kind of like Brent Sims, with my right hand guy at Kegel for so long. They're very we. I'm like, now if we don't kill each other, we'll you understand that we need each other because our
Yeah.
skill sets are so different. And but she had a great idea tonight, and she just nailed it. And so, we're just doing final little tweaks in preparation, but really the season really is in terms of that, we are who we are. And I'm really proud of where we've landed and where the team is right now, both on the men's and the girls side. Practices seem fun and lighthearted, but yet there's intent to them. And that's where we want to be. I'm having fun with my good friend Ruben, who was at practice tonight, and we're joking around. We told some Randy stories in the meeting today, and that was awesome. And Tommy was there, and we started laughing. And Coach Rick had some really good things to add to the meeting. So everybody is really firing on all cylinders right now, and I'm like, I really want to get there and let's get going. Can we be at practice session right now? Can we just bowl?
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and that's got to be a great feeling. I mean, in this time, like you said, so much fun, getting into the heart of this tournament season. Um, let's talk about the Kegel Training Center. What's new at that facility that has really become, such a big part of the sport, world renown, and all that other stuff? But what's new at the training center?
Well, yeah, I think after this amount of time, I wouldn't think there's anything new, but I work on an awesome team. And I can tell you, and you can tell that every time I talk to somebody about bowling, I have to mention Randy, and he's never too far away from my heart, and especially this time of year going into postseason. Um, but we just got done with a two-handed camp, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We've added another two-handed camp. Um, because there's been demand for it. And so I still have Alex Gurkoff as part of our coaching staff. So he's the guy that designed the torch, as you guys may know, former Russian head coach. He now I have a little different deal with him now because his wife couldn't really stand the humidity down here in South Florida, in Central Florida. Like no kidding, like it was not like I can't stand it, but like it affected her health. And so where they're from in Russia, it is very, very dry. So he actually moved to Vegas and has a business in Vegas, but I've hired him 1 month a quarter,
Okay.
and he has an Airbnb that he loves here. So he's still on the coaching staff. He worked every day for the last 30 days, and he's an excellent two-handed instructor. So where I'm leading into this is, our staff is just really right now. We are super busy in the training center, probably the most busy we've ever had with lessons. So I'm really, really blessed that people are coming down, especially right now with how tight money is in the American household, and they're really investing in training at the training center. So the product that is really continues to evolve, Fef, is the Kegel Coaching Masters Program, or KCMP. So we did our first module 7 years ago, our first test run with a product that Ruben and I designed called the 13 most common errors in the physical game and how to fix them. And it was a huge hit. We had 25 coaches here, 2 gold coaches. And then Ruben and I did a timing seminar in Chicago. That was our second kind of mini test, and that a 2-day thing with coaches just on timing. And that was a huge success. So we started the directional module, I think 5 years ago now. And since then we've added speed and release, all elements of speed and release. And then we did the art of scoring last year here right after Bola Expo. So that's taking all the components of the tactical equation, everything that affects the environment, and showing coaches and players how to connect the dots. So for example, it's people know stuff about RGs, people know stuff about covers, how to change it. People understand a little bit about oils and patterns a little bit, and the how burnt the approaches are, and they now know, thanks to Kegel and John Davis, about topography and how that affects ball reaction. But okay, that's great that you know a little bit about all of these factors, and they know a little bit about the physical game and maybe tendencies of players and skill levels. But can you put it all together to maximize the score of an athlete in any environment, in any situation, whether it's team bowling or you're coaching an individual? That is the confusing part, right? And so that's why it's called the art of scoring. And that was a huge hit, and probably the most difficult module to write. And then recently we launched the two-handed master's program, teaching coaches how to develop two-handed players. And that's such a big, no one other than that I know in Europe with their certification with Onder Gherkin over there. No one else in the world is doing this. And so I think this is going to be our most demanded module, because coaches are really thirsty, and so are players, for how do I teach this two-handed game? What's different about it? We've identified, for example, 2 completely different styles. One we're calling the traditional two-handed style, which is the style that was brought to us by Oscu and Belmo. And it's an open hip style where the pivot point of the swing is the hips, and the hips move and the shoulders move. And that particular style has certain characteristics and fundamentals. The other style that we identified is the perpendicular hip style of for example, a Kyle Troop or a Matt Russo, where the ball swings perpendicular to hips, like in the one-handed game, and that the hips are the directional module. The open hipped, or the Belmo style, the arms form a hoop on the line of play. And so both styles, the timing mechanism is a little different. The sequence is a little bit different. The release is the same. The fundamentals of the release are the same. And what's on the line of play, what elements are on the line of play are a little bit different. So, and you don't want to mix or match the styles.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're educating the coaches about. Now we just recently did the first one, and I'm so excited. You think that every single college coach needs to take this, every single high school coach, every single youth leader that has a junior program where people are coming in and teaching the correct two-handed fundamentals, and there's a lot of confusion about it. So I am thrilled that the with KCMP and what this is going to offer. The original vision of this is this master's program, and so you pay an extra $100 if you want to. The test is optional, Theft, and there is a master course level test, and you have to get 80%. And I will tell you that our pass to fail rates, our pass rate to fail is about 20%.
20% passing.
20% passing. It is a
Wow.
master's level, and this is brand new, up to date research. And I can tell you, I couldn't have done it without Ruben Garagosian. We put together Idealia, the format, and he writes it. Now, I don't have that skill. I have a lot of knowledge, but having a skill of writing so that you can teach something, I don't really have that. I guess it would probably take. I guess I could figure it out, but it would be really difficult for me to do. So, what we do, what Ruben and I do, is we get in a room with the coaches. We say, "This is what we need to have it in." Ruben and Sid Allen, his partner, have done this many times in Hong Kong, in Singapore, in Indonesia, Latvia, where Diana Zaviolova is from. They started the program from nothing. They wrote the educational program, and probably Sid Allen, Ruben would tell you, is the best in the world at this.
Hmm.
And so he's really pushing me to get over to Australia here this year. He's written a whole bunch of new stuff and he wants to give it to me, wants to teach it to me. So very rarely that I get to become the student, usually, but I mean, to me, Sid and Ruben are like the masters, and
Yeah.
um, so that's what's really going on. And then our camps are going, like I said, we added a two-handed camp. We're doing a lot more junior gold stuff. We were at SYC this year. Storm allowed us to be part of that and to do some seminars and to do some one-on-ones with some kids. So I was really grateful to Storm. Um, so a lot of stuff going on at the training center regarding education, especially for coaches. And I will tell you that one of the great things that have come out of college bowling for me, not only just as it's changed our lives, but it's forced me to learn some skills that I didn't have 16 years ago. I hadn't done a lot of team coaching, and I'd been involved with the Nebraska team because I was the tour rep at AMF, and we sponsored them, and I used to fly there twice a year with Bill Straub. But I've had to really learn some skills that I didn't have. But I didn't feel like I had to learn them. I wanted to learn them
Yeah.
because once I got into this college bowling thing, I was kind of obsessed with, you know, I didn't. I remember going to our first nationals, and Randy and Joe were coaching the men, or because our women didn't bowl until the second year. We didn't have enough women, and I was really in the back, giving them guidance on the moves of our team and their teams, and sending them hand signals. But I'm also researching because I had never been to a college nationals before. I didn't really even know what it meant, Fef. Not really. Like a national championship, I had no clue. That's where I was the first year. So from then I started to understand, like, man, I need to learn this skill or that skill, or I'm a little shy here. What do I need to talk to? Um, and then we have taken that knowledge now and we have helped many collegiate and high school teams because we're really, really good at it. And every year we press ourselves to learn more. So that's what's going on in the training center, bro. We are hopping, and actually, while listening to the viewers, I'm looking. I've got another job posted. I'm looking for another coach, and I'm looking for interview. I'm looking for people that want to come in and help coach Weber and help coach people at the training center. This would be a position of, coaching either the men or the women's team or both, and also be an instructor at Kegel. So I've got that posted. I want to say this on the show. That's another thing that's going on. We're looking for another coach, and we're looking to expand.
Yeah.
So thank you for allowing me to mention that.
Of course. And if people out there are interested, where do they go to find that posting?
Just go on the either the Kegel.net website or the KegelTrainingCenter.com website, either one. And you can fill out your application, and I'll get notification. And so we've actually had the job posted for quite some time, and I think I'm going to reword it a little bit, and then try to get it into some different places that hasn't been. So I think there's some people that would be interested in the job. They just haven't seen it,
Sure.
or they didn't know to look for it.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you allowing me to mention it.
Oh yeah, thank you for helping us get the word out, and best of luck coming up in ISC and ITC, because like you said, what a fabulous time of year, right?
What a fabulous time of year. The teams are really, really good. The coaching, relative to 16 years ago, the coaching is much better. You're getting some former kids that came out of some great programs that are now coaches that now really have a much higher level of knowledge. Not knocking anybody, but compared to a lot of the programs when we first got here, the knowledge is, and it's getting harder to win for sure. So we can't rest on the last time the men won was 2019. It seems like forever ago, but when you consider that one of the years doesn't count, it wasn't that long ago. We made a great run last year. And so, with that said, we've had to continue to get better. Like this year, I had to come in with a very open mind, and not rest on my laurels. You know, um, but like I told Sydney, I go, we don't have to revamp anything. We just have to continue to move forward and continue to grow the program and continue to get better. So otherwise, I mean, we're going backwards because these other programs are getting better. A lot of our information, a lot of our knowledge, we're passing on to the world, and a lot of the young kids now, like Matt Russo and his wife, are doing a fabulous job at their school, and damn near won the whole thing last year, right? And so, really proud, proud moment. We stayed around and watched that championship match against that McKendree team. That was awesome. And so, Katie Thornton down at SCAD, just won, the men and women won the NAIA. And I mean, I called them right afterwards here in the car yelling and screaming. And what's funny is Brandon Bone went down to watch his brother win, and he was in the car.
Wow.
So it was awesome, and so you got Haley Veach at Tulane, who won the national championship with Weber on a broken leg. The first year the women won in '09. And I mean, like, no kidding, she had a broken leg and she was the MVP. It's not an exaggeration. She had a broken leg. We just didn't know it.
Yeah.
So
That's
when I look at that and see how college bowling has grown and how the knowledge has grown, I loved knowing that I'm being challenged to get better.
Yeah.
And so this year's team has certainly challenged us to do that. And the only thing that, as long as you come out okay and you keep your wits about you and your attitude right, you grow from it. And that's all you can help to do. And so I'm really looking forward to going to battle, man. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, I bet. Well, we sure appreciate the insight. Thank you so much for your time. And for those of you out there, if you're interested in learning more about IPSIA or becoming a member, head on over to the website, ipsia.com. You'll find all that information there. And if you like what you saw here today, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. It is the easiest and quickest way to help us continue to make great bowling content.
Well, I just wanted to shout out to Terry Howe, and I talk to her periodically from time to time with ideas, and I just love her energy. I love that she's landed in this position, because this position needs someone like her with just unlimited ideas and unlimited energy, and she just wants to make a difference. And I knew that if they just let her do her job, that she was going to make a huge difference to this organization and ultimately bowling, right? So I just want to say a shout out to her because she's like my sister. I love her to death, and she's just doing great things up in Minnesota, and now, obviously for IPSIA.